Yow! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to our broadcast tonight. I am your host, eXtine, and joined by my co-host, Sigafoo. How you doing, Siga?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing? How's it feel to be back here finally?
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a chance to cast Highlander. I had some time away for different reasons, and then you and Grizz holding things down. Last week, I didn't have a chance to step in, so Melon did a wonderful job last week. And I was really happy when Jerry called me up, and I said, "Yeah, I have the free time. Let's do it." And we have a wonderful match tonight. It is Upward, a favorite map, Payload, a favorite format of mine as well. I think that's where Highlander really shines. And we also have two wonderful teams here: the undefeated Menace to Society versus the Kids Next Door. Definitely a grudge match, a long-standing rivalry, and the culmination as well of the regular season. This was on the agenda, with this round-robin format. Everybody knew this was coming. Everybody knew this was hype. Would you say this is fair to say this is the biggest match of the regular season, Sigafoo?
I definitely think it's built up to be that way. Having mTs not lost a single game all season. KND lost this map against Boat in the first season. The Boat disbanded, so the loss doesn't count against them. But I still think they're itching a little bit to be able to win this. And also, mTs, KND, they were in the grand finals last season. KND obviously took that match, so I'm excited. I think mTs wants a little bit here to beat up KND, and also just to send yourself into finals. I mean, mTs winning today, that keeps him in that top spot going into finals, which is always important to have that number one seed.
Yeah, what's definitely nice about tonight's matchup is while this is an important game, just in terms of like momentum, mTs versus KND, the undefeated factor, everything about this being like a finale to the regular season and these two fantastic teams is great. But there's also actually some seeding on the line. There's some real consequences to losing this match, as we are heading into a 4-team format playoffs, and basically the winner here has a chance to improve their matchup in this next round. Sigafoo, do you want to break down some of the possibilities we have going on here?
Yeah, basically, kind of looking at the bracket, this is assuming that DK is going to 2-0 their game, which they should this week. Basically, if KND wins today, they should end up in second place this season, which would then put them against mTs next week. If mTs lost, they should drop down to third place. But again, it depends on how many rounds are taken. That can be changed a little bit. But basically, KND wins, it's probably going to be a rematch next week. And if mTs wins, they're going to keep in first place, and they're going to go against Guinea Hoops in the first week of the playoffs. Again, there can be some weirdness that happens here, but roughly that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, and we probably will see that follow through. And certainly that's important heading into next week. I mean, KND, you mentioned that last season they defeated mTs, and if they were to beat them here, then obviously they would feel fairly confident moving forward in playoffs and playing them again. Guinea Hoops as well, they definitely have a lot of talent, but overall in the course of the season have not been able to match the level of mTs and KND. So again, with a 4-team playoff, that having that comfortable, or at least more comfortable first round match would be pretty important. Now let's talk about the roster a little bit here. I'll run it down real quick, I guess, and then circle back to the main point I wanted to make. For Menace to Society, we have Enigma on Scout, Hardblue on Soldier, Katsy the Pyro, Muma on Demo Man, Lunacide Heavy Weapons Guy, Spamfest Engineer, Nursey holding it down on Medic, Yosh on Sniper, who has been unstoppable lately, and the Demon Spy himself, Akuma. Over for the Kids Next Door, we have Sizer now on Scout, Etney on Soldier, Satan on Pyro, Jarrett the Demo Man, Kresnik the Heavy, Ender the Engineer, Just in Time the Medic, Bowser on the sniping responsibilities, and Storm Arian holding down Spy. Now, the big change recently has been Hardblue switching off of Medic and Nursey stepping onto the team. I have definitely a lot to say about Hardblue as a soldier. I think he's a fantastic soldier. As a very experienced Highlander player, Sigafoo, who do you feel is a better Highlander medic there, Hardblue or Nursey?
I'm gonna get some hate mail, whatever I say in this. I mean, obviously, I think they're both very good medics. I think Nursey, I think does a better. I think the biggest weakness to Harblue as a Highlander medic is his ability to get backstabbed. Like, he's just not a good spy checking medic, and he can get punished. Like, any platinum spy can have a great day when you're playing against Harblue. I think Nursey, all around great medic. I think Harblue is a little bit more aggressive, but Nursey just has like all of her mechanics are just there. They're great, and they're very, very solid. But I think Harblue switching to Soldier, I really like. I've played against him as Soldier. I watched him last week play as Soldier. He is very, very good at like being a distracting soldier, which, I mean, that's what you want to do on Highlander a lot of times. Like, as a soldier, you want to just be a distraction. You want to be an annoyance. You want to be a thorn in the side of the enemy team, because anytime they're spending looking at you is time they're not looking at the combo, time they're not focusing on the sniper, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Harblue as a roamer is so dangerous, and I think another aspect of, maybe him versus Nursey, as well as the overall benefit to the team of this rotation, is that they are pretty close there. And I agree with you that Nursey has better Highlander fundamentals, possibly in terms of the spy check, than Harblue. Something that Harblue always brings to the table as a team is his ability to communicate, energize his team, whip his team on towards victory, towards aggressive plays that do lead to that victory. And, that possibly could actually be where, some of his lack of spy checking comes in, that he's too busy yelling at his team and wrangling his team. And I think that as a roaming soldier, particularly with his ESEA champion background on the position, that he'll still be able to bring some of those aspects of calling and urging his team on and making key decisions, as well as having his team still follow him. And that's probably unique amongst some of the other teams, to have a roaming soldier who probably has still a very significant sway in terms of the communications for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that flank play generally in Highlander in particular, you tend to have very quiet flanks, but I think, a lot of times I think that's actually like one of the least like thought of things, is that everybody focuses on the combo, the demo, the heavy, the pyro, but mainly on the demo man to do things. And he is the person who creates space. Demo man is the player who creates space, but the flank classes are the ones who make plays a lot of the times. They're the ones who are creating space on the opposite side of the map to be able to get around to force an Uber, or they're the ones, kind of doing something in order to allow the combo to do a play. Because oftentimes the combos are in deadlock. I mean, it depends on the maps and stuff like that. And having a soldier who can yell at you and make comms and tell you when they're bombing and coordinate, it can be incredibly useful, especially, speaking as myself as an engineer on the flank. If I have a talkative soldier, that's great, because that just means it makes it easier for me, because I can follow up his damage. I can follow up what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. He's going to bring a lot of hurt with him. That's always been his game as a roaming soldier. And you throw an Enigma into the mix, and right there, you have a devastating combo. Muma on top of it, just throwing down a lot of damage. You got a cleanup crew, you got a damage crew, you got a talented pyro, you got engineer. mTs has been a very devastating squad this season, but KND obviously bringing a lot to the table as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And overall, it's going to be an exciting match here as we are going live.
And it looks like mTs is going to be our first team on offense here. Stopwatch setting here, so attack, defend, defend, attack, attack, defend. We do get into the third set here. And we'll have to see what Ender does. Do you really feel like there's been much switch in upward strategy for engineers with the recent updates? Defensively, probably not, I'm sure.
You see just more use of the Jag. There was like the Jag Eureka or Eureka Jag rollout and stuff like that, but it's not that super beneficial, so he's just running the current Jag. I played it yesterday. I just used the Jag. Just having that rebuild speed on this map is particularly pretty good. One interesting thing, I'm just going to be curious, I'll say it ahead of time, is that mTs might do something crazy, especially with Harblue on that soldier, is what they've done in the past is they'll just have their soldier and Demoman jump way behind the enemy team, go all the way to second, and just create a distraction and then re-bomb in later. So it'll be interesting to see here, but yeah, Engineer, just the biggest difference is just using the Jag pretty much on this map in particular, as the gates are opening up here.
Yeah, definitely some major changes to Spy with that update. Engineer probably the other most effective classes, and I think things are still kind of settling in, and it'll be interesting to see how teams do adjust to some of these item changes, but nothing too crazy so far. This round as well, not getting off to the most exciting start. Harblue with the direct hit, standing back, gets an easy stab by Jacob. There goes Bowser, sniped down.
Yeah, and coming in here, I mean, taking down Bowser's no sniper on the KND side. That's going to just at least open up. You can be a little bit safer with your picking. Now we have Nursey trying to figure out if she wants to come out or not. I mean, usually MTS, the old style, was push out. You have Uber, the gates are open, let's be pushing with it. So Muma finally getting forward here as actually the sniper did get headshot there on the MTS side. As you do get the Uber out, actually Sentry Gun went down right away. Counter Uber does come out on KND side. Sentry Gun is being rebuilt here, but we're just saying exchange and probably a re-push up coming up not too shortly.
Yeah, the heavy weapons guy for red team, KND, doing a good job getting on the cart, and they actually get a ton of kills here. So it is a possibility they might be able to kind of restructure themselves a little bit. Ender just kind of resets this gun a little bit, scoots it over. He's got his dispenser, rescue ranger up, so he's ready to get that healthy again. It looks like they still want to hold on to this first point for now. They have a 30% Uber charge advantage as well, which could be helpful. Blue's going to have to push without Uber for now. It actually makes their medic a little bit vulnerable. Action all over the place. Blue just trying to inch it forward. The spy coming in, gets the stab on Jarrett. That's a big help, and with that, it looks like Blue's just going to be able to push on through. Nobody left to stop him. The Eureka effect pulling that sentry gun just back a little bit. Not really too helpful, but at least Ender staying alive is important. Oh my god, that sentry gun actually almost gets the kill on the demo man Muma.
Yeah, so here we come in. Actually, Sniper with this really cute angle, kind of up on the hillside, able to kind of peek the hill without exposing himself too much, as Etney gets a couple nice frags. Actually, really nice frags, taking down the flank classes here around the cart area, as Harblue actually ends up kind of finishing him off with a nice backstab onto Bobby. There's no heavy here on the second point, as we get the dumb man trying to spam over the top. Actually, Nursey pops this Uber. It's not that effective. Actually, as Muma gets blasted all the way off the cliff with the help of it, as the spy actually storm area and steals a little bit of that Uber, as Nursey's going to have to run away.
Yeah, they were having some difficulties there. They lost Yosh and KND establishing themselves very strongly, doing some good effects, and Soldier coming over the top, actually thrown backwards. Etney and gun down. Heavy Demo Man still up top of the Demo, not a whole lot of heals. Heavy getting a lot of damage as Enigma running in. Enigma taken out, but so is Kresnik.
Yeah, and so we got the Soldier actually Harblue trying to create a little bit of space. Finally, Muma actually getting forward, does run into Storm Arian there. Is actually, he did go down, but Jared actually went down to a nice snipe from Yosh there, so that's going to open up here. Only 5 alive here for the defense of Red. Actually, here comes in, nice snap by Akuma. Gun goes down right away. They're just going to push straight through here, and now it's just going to be really, really careful. You got to keep your medic alive and probably just give up this point right now and fall back onto the next one, as Justin has a very nice Uber advance right there. As Nursey died. Nursey died by the world. Killed, okay. Yeah, Jared killed Nursey there. Looks like he might have fell off.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't catch that either. There was the snipes from Yosh definitely helped open things up, getting a good kill, an important kill on Jarrett there. Bowser looking across, gets a good snipe on Enigma, who was just standing on the cart, thought he was safe. Didn't realize there was an angle there.
So here we come in, cart pushing up the hillside. I mean, this is what you need to do, as we actually have Harblue coming in pretty early, trying to get something, but not able to connect with anything, as a nice reflect by Zane here. As Jarrett getting aggressive, just trying to, spam the cart here, but you want it, this is what it's really important, is you want to get up over top. As Enigma does get taken out, but that cart is over up that first hurdle, as Nursey's coming in at 92%, so Uber should be coming off here pretty shortly with the respawns coming up.
It's been a pretty good defense so far here from KND. Still keeping a lock on this cart and trying to keep MTS from really leaving that spawn area a whole lot.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of surprised they're waiting so long to get this push. I think they're just trying to wait to get their coordination. Finally, Muma getting aggressive, but gets sniped right away. Punished for that aggression, as now it's kind of, they're going to Nursey holding on to this 100% Uber, but doesn't really have anybody to push with, as they just have about 5 people sitting in house, and that cart's going to start rolling back here and might go all the way down the cliff. As Spamfest is going to touch that cart to at least keep that objective forward, but he's going to probably die as he's getting down pretty low. Actually is able to keep alive there, but Justin Time actually gets taken out by Akuma, and that's going to prompt the push right away.
Oh wow, yeah, here they come with the Uber charge. The sentry gun actually gets pulled back, so nicely done there by the engineer. He puts it down again. And
oh
Kresnik,
my goodness! The Satan trying to push Nursey off the cliff actually connects with the flare there, taking him down. So, like, despite this cart looks like it's gonna be pushed to the third point, Nursey does die there. So it's not such a bad death that Just in Time took earlier.
Yeah, that'll help with the defense quite a bit. And they're still kind of putting a little bit of pressure out here. Not too sure about it. Staying far enough back and it's not going to be a problem, but this still just at least slows down the capture because, again, once this is stopwatch. You know, the overall capture time is what's important here. And they're doing a good job of still disrupting this and making sure that they can't get up this last ramp. And that's going to be a problem if Red gets reestablished here and they're not up that ramp because easily they can find themselves sliding down the other ramp, which will just further hold them back here.
Yeah, I really like this aggression on KND, reestablishing himself. They did take down the combo classes. Respawns are going to be fast for the offense here, just because of the way that payload works here. So already Muma and the Heavy are re-pushing back up this hill, but this cart, it's going to start rolling back here. You need to get somebody on the cart for this next push that's going to happen. Nursey C at 99% finally does get the charge. It looks like they're going to push this right away. Where they're going to take it. And actually, Muma gets sniped again, and Akuma gets caught up by the gun, so it gets popped onto Enigma, but it's going to be against Satan, who's going to get pushing him back. As Nursey actually end up going to be jumping away. The cart's already rolling back, and this counter pop out of KND is much, much better with that height advantage. And basically, nothing's going to come out of this for mTs, as KND's holding strong on this third point.
Yeah, they finally get somebody on the cart. That's just the heavy weapons guy touching it to stop it from rolling down the other ramp, which certainly would have been pretty devastating. The sentry gun does get taken down as Blue's starting to get a little bit further out here on the corner. Engineer on the cart as well. If they can get it over this other ramp, that'll be a big accomplishment here, and they're heading towards that capture. KND will have to make sure that they can get out of this somewhat safely. Ender has survived, and I think he'll be back setting up sentry gun at least.
Yeah, Just in Time actually got caught out there in the stairwell with the help of Enigma and then Catsy following up there. So no medic for this final point as Nursey's at that 100%. I mean, as long as they get the cart in the right position, they're sitting ready to go. They're actually in this lower area, getting contested slightly here, as finally the Uber does come off onto the Muma and the Scout. Enigma trying to get some foreground. Muma actually jumping in over the top, trying to contest this Engineer. Does take down the sentry gun. Engineer still alive, as Satan does go down as well. A lot of frags coming out in the favor of mTs, as Soldier and Pyro finally do go down in that favor. Bobby actually in this really cute position underneath the point, getting out some decent damage as Enigma goes down as well here. And it looks like actually KND might get the better of this after it's looking so good for mTs.
Kresnik did really good work there. He finally gets taken out, but the Scout, oh my god, Scissor takes down the heavy weapons guy. I'm not sure if he hit him with milk first. He was getting health back. It's really just a spy for Blue still on the point. And this defense has been strong from KND. We'll have to see what sort of final time mTs can get, but it's certainly not the most reassuring of speedy time so far.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the thing I was kind of mentioning before, is that they had that Uber charge and they had the advantage, but if they just would have waited like 20 seconds, let that cart push up and then push with that Uber advantage, they probably actually would have captured this point rather than they pushed so early that after that Uber got done, they're all weak. I mean, you can't sustain your health that aggressively in there, as Muma does go down, trying to peek this Jerk, getting the better of that exchange. Now, both medics are sitting at 100%, so we should be seeing exchange here pretty shortly here as a Soldier. Actually, KND's medic actually gets forced off there just in time, so it's going to be on the Scout trying to run forward, trying to get a force off. Finally does get that onto Nursey. Nursey down pretty low, about 60 HP here, as they are counter pushing through this main area. Mini sentries are up on the defensive side here, as they didn't have enough time to rebuild. Muma comes in over the top with Harblue. I think this should be enough to get onto the final point. Scissor does go down. That also goes down as well. Just Jared trying to spam onto the point with Endy coming in over the top. They both go down. Actually, I'm sorry, Jared's still up, getting some spam down on the cart with the heavy. Is it going to be enough? It is not, as Kresnik, the only one alive here. mTs takes it with 9 minutes and 10 seconds for that first round.
Yeah, it was a good final push there. They just couldn't be denied any longer, as piling bodies in there and getting the important frags that they needed to. And but still, overall, a very good defense for KND. I think that kind of was a confidence builder. You know, I think that if this is, you know, you're just stepping into the game, that's the very first half of a set that you get off. You have to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I felt like, well, especially that third round, you know, third point in particular, you know, coming back out there, you know, you got, you know, they kind of went all out for it. Obviously, Just in Time did go down there, but with trade with Nursey on that. But I don't know, overall, I thought they did a pretty good job in that final point as well. I mean, the 9 minutes and actually 9 seconds now. It was 9 minutes and 10 before. But it's like, that's a good time. That's a really solid time. Like, it's like a little bit better than average, or sorry, a little bit worse than average. So KND definitely gave himself a little cushion to mess up here as we are coming out on the other side, as KND is going to be starting out on offense here on blue.
Yeah, always interesting to see how the shift affects teams, particularly in the first set when we haven't seen a defense at all from MTS. And go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, so actually Akuma had a nice position on the card. It looked like he's going to get 2 or 3 stabs and ends up getting nothing as Jarrett goes down to an early snipe by Yoshi here. Really aggressive stance out of the heavy for MTS here on the right-hand side. But I like that, kind of getting that down here, as we're getting that kind of forward hold, just getting that cart moved up. You don't usually see Ubers exchange until the cart is closer to the point here, as some nice spam coming down onto MTS here on defense.
Yeah, and they're holding very similar to KND so far, it looks like. Sentry gun in a similar spot.
Yeah, some aggression coming out on this far right-hand side by the Rock. Actually, Enigma doing a good job. Actually takes down Kresnik there, as well as Etney. Now on to the engineer, takes down Spam Test. That's a 3K, taking down that flank, but this heavy goes down, as well as Enigma, and those respawn times, they're going to be much more in the favor as we get the Ubers exchange out here onto the point. Sane doing a good job of separating out the combo. Muma getting way blasted up in the air, and actually gets hit with the loose cannon, blasting him all the way back, but that's just going to push him to safety as Jarrett goes down to a nice backstab. And this, who is this going to come on the favor of? It looks like it's going to be KND here, as they're going to take out the point. Only 4 alive for MTS, but the bigger thing is that Nursey kept alive here in that exchange, and they're going to actually have a chance to hold second pretty decently here.
Good plays by Katzy in there as well. She's getting some heals from Nursey and poking in for at least a second. Has to back up, almost gets the heavy weapons guy. Nursey actually gets a Uber Saw kill on Jacob. I actually don't think that counts, though, because that was a dead ringer, it looks like.
Yeah, if he's disguised, yeah, Jacob is Demento today, according to chat here, as we have Jarrett pushing on the corner. Actually, Enigma getting really aggressive here. Tries to get onto a Demo Man, not able to connect there, as Jarrett is able to stay alive against that Soldier. Hardly jumping in onto the cart, slowing that down. Always important here, is both mechs are at 100% Uber. It looks like we're going to get a push finally out of KND. Level 3 Sentry Gun actually gets picked up and ran away as counter pop comes out of MTS. A lot of time coming in on that card, and MTS are just going to have to back out of here. I mean, Bobby with this position over the top. Nice play by Sane there, taking down the gun. Muma does take down Kresnik there, but this card's still going to be captured here, and that's going to stop those forward spawns from being in here. But now we got to be careful here, as the medic's alone just against Enigma and the heavy. Not going to be able to do enough dancing there, as just in time goes down here. But MTS are going to have to back up to the 3rd point from that nice capture.
Yeah, getting the capture definitely the most important aspect of that for KND. That move spawns forward and move spawns back for red team. And certainly, you know, the beginning part of the transition between 2 and 3 is real easy, kind of free territory. And they're off to a good start here. I think they performed a little bit better than MTS did so far.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the point of focusing the objective is MTS was able to stop that objective from being captured on second. They'd be doing in a lot better position than they are right now. They do have about a 50-60% Uber. I don't think they're going to push with it. It's fairly unusual, as we do get the heavy to go down there. That Selena side there on MTS goes down, which is a big help on this 3rd point. Can do a lot of damage from that balcony side, as Enigma trying to run out, but it actually gets picked off with a mini sentry gun as Jarrett's trying to push up this hillside, but they got to be careful here, as actually Jarrett does go down. The Uber is still in the advantage of MTS. They got to be careful. This match so close. Actually, Hardwell coming over the top. Lands 2 nice rockets, taking down just in time. Now Nursey, same with the 100% Uber, can use it whenever they want, as the Soldier trying to do something here, but MTS should be holding on to this despite the numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, I was going to say too that at the same time, they're getting some frags, making things happen. Look what's going on in the cart. The cart has not slowed down. They had an engineer on it the whole time, and they were getting frags, and nobody did anything, and the cart is almost captured.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. It's like this.
Oh my God.
Spy's about to. It's right there, but this is going to be spy capped. I guarantee you on the next life, Demento comes up. He's going to go straight for that card here. The Uber does come out on MTS, actually pushing in onto the medic. Actually takes down just in time. And Bowser as well here, so nice job there. As they're going to be able to hold on to this a little bit longer, as really actually nice aggressive push here. But is it going to be enough to hold on to this 3rd point? This 3rd point, incredibly important to not let the card be captured for, purely because that forward spawn that comes up for the offense.
Yeah, it's definitely a very important capture. Demento decloaking right behind it. Oh, gets the stab on the heavy weapons. And there it is before Muma can respond. Hey, you called it. He came back. He went to the same spot. Good stab on the heavy weapons guy. Gets a capture and spawns push backwards.
Yeah, now MTS, look at this. They had all the advantages in that situation, but because the car was captured, they're forced to back up. That third point, they're now giving up for free. Any gained time, they would have gotten out of that, but that all comes back to they did not contest the cart earlier, like a couple minutes earlier. It's all set up because of that cart pushing. KND doing an excellent job at focusing the cart, and you'll watch his final push in here. They will almost always put their heavy with Fist of Steel on that cart to finally do this. So just in time, sitting at a slight disadvantage, but that's not going to matter here, as they are getting ready to push into this final cart 20% until they hit 100. As it'll be interesting to see where KND pushes from.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole pushing the cart dynamic is it's kind of funny because a lot of teams lose sight of that, and that really is the objective here. It's not to get frags, it's to push the cart. And Akuma, well, actually slowing things down by getting a nice stab on Jarrett. He'll have to come back, but you know, it's about pushing the cart. And if you can get some inches on the cart, well, nothing else is really happening. Then that just means that when you actually do push in with your Uber charge, that you can have a better impact of it. And I think that's what we really saw in the third point, where they were able to just creep it for free, and then finally just get a couple good solid pushes here. So they might possibly just try to creep it forward again here. And just like that, the scout getting on it, getting a bit of free time. Uber charge popped on from both teams as Demo charging up the stairs, and Red at the top of the stairs had to use. We had the players pushing cart forward a little bit. Sandwich for Blue down low, eating a sandwich. So that's working for the heavy weapons guy, but not too many teammates up, unfortunately.
As Kresnik actually with a nice little peek around the corner, Nursey was trying to find her teammates, not able to find anything but the enemy heavy as they do go down there, but just in time also went down to Harblue, so medics do get exchanged there, but look at how many are dead on the MTS side. They do get respawns up. Level 3 gun is still alive here as Engineer actually runs onto the car. He doesn't have the Rescue Ranger to keep this gun healed up, but it's doing a decent amount of damage. Does take down the Pyro here as well, but again, respawns up for the offense. Almost everybody's alive after everybody died there for the KND side. 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the clock, and honestly, it's really a question of how KND can't lose this, because they're looking
on the cart. Right, nobody's there. Oh my god, they get him with a snipe. He's so close to just capping that straight up. Still is Sizer on the cart.
Oh, yeah, you got the scout in on the cart. Actually, Nigma with a nice kill there. And as well as Edney does go down. Actually, Engineer behind enemy lines trying to contest this sniper in this little duel here. Finally, he gets some help. Actually, Yosh does go down there, so that's going to help that out. As actually, Nursey went down there a little bit beforehand as well. So now Just in Time's going to have the nice Uber advantage here with a minute 30 left in the clock. And we're going to need to see a miracle play out of MTS here in order to have any chance of staying alive.
Yeah, Akuma wanted to do that miracle play, but he got called out, spotted by the medic, gunned down, and there we go. The first set goes to KND. Well played by them. A good 2 minutes faster. Well, I don't know, a minute and a half faster than MTS's offense. And I think it was mainly the third point. You know, maybe let's say like a minute on the third point, 30 seconds on the first point. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, and I mean, well, and if we go back to MTS's, is like, yeah, it was that. It was that ability to hold the third point on their defense when they held the third point. And then on MTS's defense, if they did not allow the card to be pushed up so easily on second, and they did not allow the card to be pushed up so easily on third, they would have won that round. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that was their round to win. But they didn't focus the objective.
Yeah, that's how stopwatch works, you know, and it was kind of a crazy scenario there, that defense on third, where they were getting good frags, they were getting good plays, but really it was Ender just pushing the cart, you know, like he was just standing on cart. So I'm sure you can appreciate that, Sigafoo, that underreported clutch engineer play. You know?
I mean, that's I love doing that. I love doing that more than, you know, that's the thing that is like I always yell at my team about, is like, and they, you know, it's like no, like, focus the cart. Like right now, we need the people on the cart. Like, as much as you want to get frags, like that's what happened to MTS. They focused the frags on the third point, and then they ended up losing a minute and a half because they didn't focus the cart. KND was able to push out because, and again, the same thing on last point, is they pushed in too early. And the thing that you always have to remember is, it's like, I'll say it again, and I'll see if MTS can change this, is that if you push too early, you cannot sustain a push in upward or in a payload map. You cannot keep forward unless you're spawn camping them. And so unless you're
Yeah.
spawn camping them, you're going to lose eventually. And if you don't have the cart in that position, it's just a matter of like it's like they had every opportunity. So I definitely think MTS can take it back here and put this to a third round here. But it'll be interesting to see, as MTS is going to start off on the defense side in this second half.
Yeah, one thing that's always been interesting to me with the Highlander experience is that checking the scoreboard and seeing how many players are alive and just comparing that number is not always the best indicator of what's actually happening. Because Highlander more so than Sixes, but also, as you guys know, I like Arena Respawn. And Arena Respawn, you kind of get this dynamic as well when people respawn, where it actually might be 5 versus 7, but if it's 5 versus 7 and they have 3 players on the cart and 4 players coming from spawn, if you kill the 3 players on the cart, then you maintain your advantage. Then it's 5v4 and you're fine. So there's kind of this concept sometimes of like, okay, well, yeah, we might have numbers, but we need to accomplish the cart, or we might not have numbers, we might have even numbers, but we need to protect the cart. And
right.
MTS kind of got wrapped up in, okay, well, we got this frag, we got this frag, we got this frag, and the whole time the cart is just progressing, and that's what it's about. So
yeah, it's payload. I mean, it's surprising about how many teams forget the objective, just as you're saying. And or I mean, like, it's about kind of playing around the objective. As I'm looking at the stats here right now, Yosh top fragging in the game with 20 frags. So doing a nice job there. But one surprising, and I always got to call this out though, it's actually a pretty good spread. I mean, nobody's doing drastically bad. Both spies are actually struggling this game, but I mean, it's Platinum Highlander. I mean, when you're going up against great people, it's hard to get picks here. But Ender actually second fragging in the game with 19. So the engineer, doing a lot of work there. Though his damage numbers aren't. They're actually only a little bit higher than the enemy, so it's spam fest there. So Ender, I mean, like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of gratifying to be able to do that as an engineer, but also like if your damage numbers aren't that crazy different, but it just means he's in the right place. He's having his mini sentries in the right place at the right time. As we are getting started in the second half here, MTS on the defensive side, KND on the offense. KND win this round. That is it. That is game, and they're going to be pushing themselves up to the higher seed. MTS fighting for that perfect season and trying to keep that #1 spot, and they can only do that if they win out the rest of the game. They need to win this half and then take it into overtime.
Yeah, I would say that KND are in the ideal space as well. I mean, we don't have any psychologists that have done deep research on this phenomenon. But I would say in TF2 stopwatch, ideally, you would want to put up a defense, win your offense, put up a blazing offense, and then just be like, okay, we just have to hold for like 6 minutes. I would say offense back-to-back, winning the first set is ideal scenario. I don't know how you feel, Sigafoo.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Well, especially like the way they did it. I thought they felt like they won as a team, As we do have Spamfest came out here with the Eureka effect Jag rollout I was talking about earlier, and also an aggressive sentry gun, though I do expect it to be taken back as Bowser does take down Catsy right away. So no Pyro here on the defense side of that, but that actually, it might be enough for the Spy to be able, Demento to be able to do something here early on.
Yeah, I was about to call it out the other way, but that was actually Jacob's dead ringer disguised as Satan. They're creeping forward pretty decently here, getting a good early push on the cart. The medic out here as well, so they're being very aggressive. This is a demo pushing. This is something we don't normally see. We were calling about it last round. Usually Uber's very passive and calm, but they force it out early. They disrupt the situation here. It's just a level 1 sentry gun wrangled. Engineer is still up, but he doesn't have a whole lot of time to work with here to get it up to a higher level of functionality. Just in time down though.
Yeah, just in time, it gets taken down there, so nice play. And at the level 1 sentry gun, I think that might have been that forward gun, but I think when Catsy went down, that might have prompted the push. It's basically everybody is dead for KND here, even with the fast respawns. That push for KND just did not work at all. They did not get able to take any foreground, then losing their medic in the process as well from nice play by Harblue. That's going to keep Nursey with a nice, huge Uber advantage here. Level 1 sentry gun is still alive as the engineer actually went all the way back to spawn there, using that Eureka effect.
Yeah, MTS definitely doing a good job of holding it down so far. Oh my god. And actually in the backfield, Akuma doing some spy protection, gunning down Jacob. the sniper down though. The red team.
Yeah, Nursey does pop off that Uber onto the demo, and Soldier, Harblue, and Muma trying to take some ground. Actually trying to do something onto Just in Time, but not able to connect anything. Harblue does jump over the top, tries to find one rocket onto Justin, not able to connect with anything, with really great dodging out of Justin there on top of the rocks here. Now it's going to leave MTS here a little bit exposed. It's actually the scout looks like he wants to take ground, but he's not going to be able to do it with that sentry gun there. But the first point is going to go down in the favor of KND here finally.
Yeah, and I would say that actually 2 minutes is still pretty speedy there. And then, you know, kind of the benefit of the odd scenario that they have about a 30% leeway to get out and attack the second point before Nursey is able to get an Uber charge. And they're getting a little aggressive here, kind of getting slowed down, so we'll see if they're able to get in there. Actually, it looks like that's window is fading. Oh my god, no, there comes Jacob with a stab. And then there's the Uber charge in response to, like, let's get some frags.
Yeah, the second point is going down in their favor, of course. But now it's just a question of how many more can they pick up here, and can they take this all the way to the third point here. As actually, this Scissor all the way behind enemy lines gets taken out by Spamfest here, as the cart is finally being pushed forward. But that cart being so far back during that Uber push, that's going to at least give MTS a chance to be able to get onto the third point here, as the sticky traps are kind of going off in each way, as Kuma with 2 nice stabs there.
Yeah, momentary delay, but they were nice stabs. Let's put it like that.
Hey, you get those free and platinum, you know, it's always a good play, like when you can pull that off here. As the cart is starting to move up here, as Nursey actually went down to Etney there just a little bit ago, so not very good for MTS's defense right now, as Harblue sitting right below the cart looking to make a play, actually decides just to go for the cart purely, gets a 3K, that's going to slow him down with Akuma, and no cart pushing right now, as a whole combo sitting inside that house. So despite the Uber advantage they don't have anybody alive right now. But they're going to get those quick respawns, and finally it's going to help them out as all the flank classes go down for MTS and Muma as well.
Yeah, in the heavy weapons guy, Lunacide has to run back, barely survived there. He was actually pretty lit. If they'd lost him there, I think that would have been a little bit more devastating for the chances here. This Uber charge moving forward, though, is going to clear out the forward defense on this third point. There's no sentry gun up for Spamfest right now, and he's under attack, taken down. Many sentries anyways.
Yeah, and Etney came out there with a perfect bomb, had the flash Uber, jumped in over the top, knew exactly where Nursey was, perfect rockets right onto him, and takes him down. So that's going to be, again, another Uber advantage as they're rolling through here. Demoman actually getting very aggressive, Jared onto Muma, but he's going to get caught out there with the help of the Pyro. And MTS now on their last point here, as Demento on the final point does get caught out there, as actually Just in Time down to 15 HP. But able to stay alive just barely, as the Uber charges are going to about even out now with that fight that happened. And this is going to give MTS a chance to hold on here, as 4 minutes and 25 seconds for the first 3 points. It's not a horrible time if they can get at least a decent last hold here.
Yeah, I think that is where their position is. I think that's a very accurate call. Last can be the trouble spot, and certainly if you hold last longer, that gives you the wiggle room on the other points. You know, you can hold the other points long and then give up a quick last, but they've put themselves in a tough spot. If they can settle down here and really hold things, then they won't need a lightning fast offense themselves, which certainly will help them out to keep this game alive here. But the scout coming in here doing a lot of damage, doesn't quite get the kill on Nursey, but Nursey forced to pop as spam coming in. And Uber charge is going to fade, wasn't really that effective.
Now
there goes Lunacide. This is looking very dire for MTS. No sentry gun up. Really just kind of the spy actively ready to defend the cart. Here comes Harblue as well. He's going to go down into the pit.
Oh, but the help of Amuma and Akuma are going to help take down the cart, as Nursey gets one assault off onto the spy here. Just actually the medic and Devilman onto the cart, as we do get the stickies coming in over the top. Jared trying to do something, but Catsy going to shut that down. Just in time now, going to be running away with his life. Is he going to be able to get away? Yes, Catsy decides to back off with the help of Bobby and Kresnik trying to slow that down. Browser does go down, but somehow, some way, MTS is going to hold on to this cart and give themselves a little bit more chance, as it was not looking good at all. And Nursey's sitting at 100% Uber on top of it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if she hit some saws or not. She does have to pop there due to the rockets coming in. Jacob and Ender bringing some pressure. Or no, sorry, not Ender, but the soldier, Etney.
Yeah, the Uber charge, though, being popped off, that's not going to be in a very good place now. It's just in time. Coming in at 90% here, they're getting ready to push this main area. Now, the biggest thing right now is MTS cannot take any deaths. This Uber charge is going to come in. You know you're at a disadvantage. Don't take any dumb deaths here. Try to keep your medic alive here, as Hardblue did go down there early, as well as the Heavy. So here comes the Uber, does get popped off. Catsy goes down as well. Engineer onto the cart with the Fist of Steel Heavy. Now it's just the Engineer, actually Spamfest trying to come in here with the help, and they actually end up clearing off the cart, but no, I'm sorry, the Heavy's still on there. Fist of Steel is so powerful. And there you go, 6 minutes and 56 seconds. I mean, at least it's, I mean, that's a dang good time.
Yeah, sub 7 is fantastic, and I think they did a great job there. I really appreciated how Just in Time flashed Ender, and exactly when that Uber charge faded was when Ender got on the cart, it touched the cart, and started pushing it. Then the heavy weapons guy came in with that Fist of Steel, and it was just really disruptive. They killed Ender, but the Fist of Steel heavy just keeping that cart there until other reinforcements were able to come in. And that was just a very solid, well-executed push. Nursery suffering from the effects of lack of control in that upper window, spam coming in, and Nursery having no choice but to pop that Uber charge. The way that the kind of back and forth, percentage differences between the charges worked out was just really unfortunate for MTS, but they're still alive in this game. Sub 7 is very tough, but it's certainly plausible that they could pull it off here.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they have a chance to do that, but again, I think MTS, I just don't like their hold on last. I mean, they're holding directly underneath Balcony. I know some of the meta is switched that way, but especially when you're at an Uber disadvantage, there's no way you can survive that fight.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough position to be in.
Do you have STV right now?
The STV? Yeah, I am in there. Did you get kicked out?
I got crashed.
Okay, well, let me hog the mic for a little bit then here. As MTS coming out of the gates, doing a pretty good job of getting an early push. Nurse's starting to push forward here now with the Demo Man. They are going to pop the Uber charge. Not quite as forward with it as Just in Time was when KND pushed aggressively at the start of their set here. And right now, MTS still kind of being held back with a stiff arm. Hardblue jumping in, does get a little bit of rotation on that right-hand side. They're really not getting penetration, and KND able to keep players up. Bowser just dropped. There goes Sizer, the first 2 players down for KND. We have a few plays traded back and forth, but they lost Ender, which certainly is a big challenge. Can't keep that sentry gun up anymore, and that will signify the end of the event of the first point. Siga, just let me know when you are back, but I am used to solo casting, so don't panic.
Yeah, you're going to have to take this for a little bit here, as I'm actually just not able to connect at all to the server. I'm not even crashed, just won't connect me.
Wow, that is crazy. MTS, in the meantime, pushing down underneath, just times, well, alternating between times 1 and times 3. They definitely have a lot of people on the card. They want to keep this rolling, and that's an important factor here as we're talking about playing to the objective. Times 3 really pushes things along here. And KND have lost a few players here. Satan down, Bowser just respawning. Jacob was down as well. Meanwhile, for the offense, it was just Spam Fest, though. There goes Lunacide, as well as their Spine. And this is a decent hold for KND at the moment. They've certainly established themselves. A dispenser going down behind the rock, right on top of the cave entrance, and Hardblue thrown up in the air. Doesn't get the dispenser or the sentry gun. The engineer still up as well, so he'll be able to repair both of those. Sizer down to Lunacide. Ubercharge popped as well, so Sizer must have been pressuring pretty hard. Akuma gets the sap on the dispenser, but not on the sentry gun, which would have been a little bit more helpful. Dispenser didn't even go down there, so good setup here for KND. Sigafoo, you might not be in the game, but you can at least express your opinion. I really like these holds that are a little bit more aggressive at the front of that tunnel. And they've scooted it back. Yeah, they've scooted it back now, but it's just really good at slowing things down. Yeah, no, that's become the meta, just because second point is virtually impossible to hold in that far backside, but holding kind of over top on the side of the cliff it's very good. It slows down teams, and you can really kind of adjust your team based on the way the push is happening. Red got some good intel on where the medic was due to their spy coming in and dying, but nonetheless, Hardblue comes bombing in. Doesn't get a kill on Just in Time, who's down to 90%. I don't know if they'll charge out here with the charge and try to save the point. Looks like they have to use it mainly just to keep Jared up, more so than stopping the capture, which they do not do. So it wasn't the intent and wasn't what they accomplished either. But 3:15 on the clock, and the third point just captured. You got to feel pretty good there. We shall see, though. Sigafoo's taking an extended technical break here. Try to get back in the STV while I'm solo casting here. Hauser with the snipe on Akuma. That is a real kill, not a dead ringer. And the spy for red team, Demento, hiding underneath, wants to come up top here, maybe get a stab on Hardblue. Misses it completely. And Blue still pushing forward with their combo, getting aggressive here, but Nursey doesn't have a charge, doesn't have any protection. I'm surprised she was actually able to survive for as long as she did. But Muma taking down as Kresnik was up top. Kresnik goes down, so Nursey backs up. And the push coming in here. Bomb over the top from Etney. Doesn't find Nursey on the cart, but does put some pressure on. As Ender getting chased by the Scout Scissor. It's the kill there. Nobody left on the cart. And of course, as I say that, Enigma now getting back on the cart. And this is some good free push. This is kind of what we were talking about with the last round, where KND were given a lot of free push and mTs not really contesting them. Right now, Enigma could be pushing this cart even harder, but he's kind of rotating in a flank, and actually the Heavy and the Pyro coming up to push the cart, which is a good rotation here. 2 minutes left. And there goes the cart sliding backwards, and honestly, there's no reason for that. You really have to finish these pushes. You really have to make some progress here. Now the engineer going for this again, but if he gets sniped or if he gets killed or just leaves the cart, then the cart's going to slide backwards. And once again, I mean, mTs are not necessarily losing the fights here. If you look at the numbers, KND do have a few player advantage, but back and forth. The sentry gun's still up there. The sentry gun hasn't been taken down. They're just not making progress on the cart, and that's really, again, what it's all about here. They're going to reach a certain point in time here that it's just going to become an impossibility. I wish that was built into the game, a sliding scale of where is your payload cart and is it an impossible or not. Be a good feature, right, Sigafoo? I think Sigafoo heading in here as we're under a minute here, and it is getting to be a dire situation. I think it's getting less and less likely here for mTs to be able to win this round. Of course, what it's going to have to come down to, the sentry gun does go down, but is there 40 seconds worth of push here? They're going to have to get ×3 on the cart ASAP. 32 seconds. There we go. There's ×3 finally. To charge it up this second ramp here. I honestly think this might be an impossibility at this point.
20 seconds here. It's not looking very good.
From third point to fourth point.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you know, about 30, 40 seconds, you can just do a straight push here, but they're going to try to do it. mTs, they're going to be sitting at this front side as they're seeking out that 100% Uber.
Yeah.
Uber does come out of KND, and they're just going to try to contest that card, just try to slow it down. Bobby comes around the other side. It's now just kind of for padding those stats in the final seconds here, as KND is going to come down with a second round and take this match on upward, and that's going to give the first loss to mTs all season on the last game of regular season coming into playoffs.
Yeah, wow. Good plays by KND. Definitely a fierce defense there, both on the second point as well as they had a strong initial start and hold to that. You know, obviously that's always kind of the quick, you know, I mean, it's the first checkpoint. It's made to be broken through. But in this last set, they did do a good job of slowing it down enough, making it a difficult capture. Second was difficult, and then mTs just not able to power through third point and really make the progress and the speed that they needed to log a sub-7 time and beat KND.
Yeah, I kind of, you know, I didn't get to see the very final part of this match, but kind of watching through all this, you know, I really feel like if this team meets in playoffs on a Koth map or on a CP map, I think that mTs is going to definitely have the upper hand. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for KND, but on a payload map, I think KND is going to have that slight advantage. And I think it really comes down to MTS's defense. I think their offense is like pretty good, but I just don't think that MTS adjusts to playing around defense, understanding to defend the objective, and also to how to play with your lives. Like, you cannot suicide with an 18-second respawn and just for a trade. Like, that's not worthwhile.
Yeah.
Especially like Harblu, I think, kind of struggled with that on defense, where he would make plays and he got like a 3K on cart, and then he could have just gone back. I got my 3K, they're going to come up in 5 seconds, I'm going to go back. But he decided to stay deep, ended up dying. They came up, a couple seconds later, were able to repush the cart, and now he's way out of position waiting for respawn.
Mm-hmm. I think there's, of course, the history of Highlander, the storylines behind some of these teams. You look at MTS, and there's the conception that they're a sixes team. They're a team drowned in sixes mentality, and that leads to their strengths on 5CP and KOTH. And then you look at KND, and you see a team that's clawed their way up the Highlander ladder. These players are all established through Highlander pretty much. And, that leads to the Highlander background, payload, very objective, very orientated based. But all that aside, you still just have two talented teams throwing down. And it's tough to say, any map it could go any which way. And the logs, the stats, certainly very interesting in that second half. I don't know how illuminating. One that I find pretty interesting is Jarrett dying 4 times, combined with Just in Time only dying 2 compared to Nursey's 6. And that particular one, Nursey 6 versus Just in Time's 2, could also is important to look at which half we're talking about, which part of this set we're talking about. And either way, that's pretty crazy for Just in Time to think that he averaged 1 death per part of that set. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're just on top of your game, and also just your team's keeping you alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of looking through the stats. I'm just kind of looking at one thing that is just really crazy. I want to point out. I was trying to see if there's any why that is, but Lunacide on heavy for MTS took almost 2 times as much damage as the closest person in the game, but he still has the same amount of deaths as Krisnik, which I just think is crazy. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of wondering if that's like there's a glitch in the stats, because that seems like absurdly that he was able to die the same amount of times while tanking twice as much damage, but. He still didn't even get about the same kills. But one thing that really stands out, and I'll point this out, is as we're talking about soldiers, is Etni. I think this is probably Etni's best map. Or I think Etni really shines on payload maps, and he did this half as he ended up top fragging with 19 kills.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap us up tonight. It was a fun match here on Upward. I was glad that I was able to duck in here with Mr. Sigafoo. I'm not sure if I'll be joining you guys next week. Probably not. We'll see. We still, of course, have plenty of playoffs here. We're going to bump into this 4-team playoff starting next week. It's going to be exciting to see how that breaks down with the cream of the crop of Platinum Highlander. And it's been a great season so far. It was really exciting with the big balance patch that Valve dropped. I think teams maybe still adjusting to it. We haven't seen anybody busting Demo Samurai or anything real crazy yet, but who knows? It's great that Valve is taking a more active part in the game, and certainly excited to see the conclusion of this, as well as the continued evolution of the game. Any last words, Sigafoo?
No, I mean, I'm just looking forward to the playoffs and some great matches. I mean, it's just purely going to be only 4 teams, the best 4 teams in North America here. So definitely stay tuned, guys, as it's going to be some great matchups here in the coming weeks.
Yep, without a doubt. Well, make sure to check us out, both Sigafoo and myself, on Twitter. EVL Gaming with an underscore in between those 2 words is on Twitter. Make sure to check them out. They've been doing solid work in the TF2 community. And of course, keep staying tuned to the eXtv YouTube for all of our latest updates for Tap 10s, Moment of Glories, all that sweet stuff. And we will, of course, be back next week with the start of the UGC playoffs over on eXtv Esports. We'll be doing some streaming Tuesday and Thursday for the Pro Battle League Arena Respawn. So tune into that. And, well, thanks so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of eXtv staff and our producer, Dashner, and the EVL Gaming staff, thanks so much for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Peace out.